Hey y'all, happy March. It's Brandan from Be Loves the Love. It is just about 7 o'clock at night. It is still bright, as you can see outside, and I tell you, one of the advantages of having these practices and rushing to get my son here on time is at least I can sit in the car and it's not pitch black. That is one advantage. Am I getting out of the car? No, because even though it's towards the end of March, the weather is not cooperating. It is very unspring-like. Well, that's not fair. It's not completely unspring-like. It is just cool enough to where I don't feel like sitting outside the car. And to be fair, even if the weather was fine, I have become those parents where I will stay at practice, mainly because where we live, it is too far to go and come back. Otherwise, I would have gone home, done some other things, came back. But we are too far to go and come back. And so I sit. And when my daughter was playing, I would sit out. Actually, no, when she was playing, I lived close in where she practiced. It was close enough to go home and come back. But if I did decide to stay, there were enough parents that I knew that we would sit around and talk and have a good time. I don't know a lot of the parents on my son's team. And a lot of the dads are the ones that come and do the practices. So I don't know if I'm a mom and they just don't feel comfortable talking. I will say, even though I can be extroverted at some of these practices and games, I am likely a little bit more quiet. So I'm not probably the most welcoming face if someone were trying to talk to me. Anywho, being in my car does allow me, though, to continue to stick to my reading and to finish books. I am reading a book, and I talked about this. I'm still reading the book about the woman who has died, and she was a lawyer in her previous life and is now a lawyer in the afterlife. And it is just such an enjoyable book. There's a lot of sexy times, which again, I have no problems with. And it's not excessive, meaning, I won't say excessive, it's a lot, but it's not gratuitous. Like, there's a reason for it. Like, they just enjoy each other and they're having fun and the banter is witty and you just can't help but just smile while you're reading this book. So I'm having a good time with it. I might be done this is the beginning of the week, maybe by the end of the week, definitely before the end of March. And I want to have another book. I want to have this book ended and another book started before the end of March. And then April comes, and that's my birthday month. And then I'll need to see what books, kind of like what the vibe I'm going to be in. I'm in very much so a vibey mood lately as it comes or as it relates to the books, kind of like what I'm feeling. And the beginning of the year, I was very much so in the mafia realm. And that really held me tight for January, February. And then March is when I think I was kind of coming out of that. I was just tired of all of the killing and all of the dying and just the virgins, and he's had 1,000 partners, but no, she better not have been with anyone. And some of the shenanigans it was getting to be a lot of shenanigans and just too much for me to care about. So I think I might read the Beverly Jenkins book in April. The one that I'd already purchased, not the new one that I want to buy for my birthday. And then I'll just see how it goes and how it looks for, what else I'm feeling. I don't know. There might be some other books out there. Because aren't they always? There's always more books. It's just a matter of finding the book that you feel like reading. And so I might just play around and maybe start a couple or start one. If I like it, I'll keep it up. And if I don't. The problem is some of these books, some of these books, the first 2 to 3 chapters are good enough to make you want to continue. But sometimes they tend to fall apart around, I'd say like the 7th or 8th, like close to the middle. And then you have to make the decision, because you're almost halfway through. Do you finish the book or do you stop and read something else? For me, if I get to that point, I'm going to finish it, or I'm going to just DNF it. I'm not going to get back to it, because knowing me, I will forget that I had even started this book. And we've already discussed my challenges with having a whole lot of books in queue. And I haven't figured yet on the Kindle. And when you're watching this, if you have an idea, can you filter for books? I know you can filter for books that you've downloaded and not. Can you filter for books that you've started? I think that would be helpful, because if I could do it that way, then at least I could look through at the books that I started, like something beyond 1%, because 1% usually is you just opened it by accident when you meant to just download it. But if it's like, 15, 20%, I've read some pages in that book. So if there was a way for me to find those books, I could likely get rid of a lot of things in my queue by deciding I want to continue to read this, or no, it's been so long, I don't care anymore. I have a lot of books that I purchased, like when I first started reading on my Kindle, that are either topics I don't care about, genres I don't care about, dynamics that no longer move me, I don't care about. And it might just be a matter of I don't care, or I've gotten more sophisticated in my reading, that there are some things and some authors that I just don't, like, this isn't going to work for me. It may have worked when it was like a baby Brandan who was just new to romance and didn't know any better. But now that I'm a mature Brandan, I know a little bit more about what I like in writing styles to know that this is a little too basic for me, or I just don't care for the format, the formatting, or just the way it's written anymore. So, anywho, that's where I'm at. Hopefully next time we talk, I would have finished the lawyer book. And I'm going to remember the name of this. I'm horrible at the names. I'll put it in the description. But I will hopefully be done with that book and on to the next. And I'm grateful to have you along this journey with me. So I'll talk to you later. Be good to yourself. Bye.